People have been telling stories since the beginning of time. From folk songs and legends to books to movies, we are still using this same structure to tell the story of a hero and their quest. You can think of a hero's journey as a sort of storytelling matrix, because for some reason, for thousands and thousands of years, mankind perceives stories in this particular way. So if you are a storyteller, understanding the way we humans are naturally inclined to shape our stories is necessary. My name is Amina. I'm a writer, screenwriter, and editor, and today we'll discuss the hero's journey, or the monomyth. This is a part 1 of a 3-part video series, so if you find this video useful, give it a like and let me know in the comments if you would like to see part 2. The structure underneath the hero's journey was discovered by Joseph Campbell and laid out in a book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces.
Why the hero with 1,000 faces?
Well, because there is a certain typical hero sequence of actions, which can be detected in stories from all over the world and from many, many periods of history. And I think it's essentially, you might say, the one deed done by many, many different people.
This study was hugely influential, particularly on filmmakers. George Lucas was the first who built a movie based on the hero's journey. But of course, since the structure is not invented, it's discovered. You can find it pretty much in any character-driven story. I chose the movie Moana because it is literally a screen adaptation of the hero's journey, practically word for word. And the movie starts, as many others, with a call to adventure. In Moana, they just put it in a song.
See the line where the sky meets the sea, it calls me.
In the beginning, we see the character in his usual world. They are living in a place that they know and understand. A familiar land to the character and people around. And then something happens. A threat, and in mythological stories, usually a threat to the society, to the way the people used to live. Moana notices that the fish went away, that the fruit spoiled. Something dark threatens the island, and therefore the livelihood of her people. A series of signs of increasing force then will become visible until the summons can no longer be denied. So, a hero has to answer the call.
It's a cycle. It's a going and a return that the hero cycle represents. But then this can be seen also in the simple initiation ritual, where a child has to give up his childhood and become an adult, has to die, you might say, to its infantile personality and psyche and come back as a self-responsible adult. And then to get out of that posture of dependency, psychological dependency, into one of psychological self-responsibility requires a death and resurrection. And that is the basic motif of the hero journey. Leaving one condition, finding the source of life to bring you forth in a richer or more mature or other condition.
Still, our character may not answer the call immediately, and when you think of it, it is natural. They have to let go of their previous understanding of themselves and the lives they led, and it is not easy. Moana wants to be a good daughter of a chieftain. She understands the responsibility on her shoulders as well as experiences the dangers of the ocean. So she needs a little push. The movie actually starts with a supernatural aid. The ocean gives Moana the amulet, making her the chosen one. She's predestined for this quest and chosen by forces bigger than her. This part is not essential to every story, but it is a major component of a myth. So for me personally, it was interesting that the authors of Moana was sticking pretty closely to this classical mythical structure, making this movie not only a kid's story, a fairy tale, but pretty much a mythological story. If we look closer, we see an island somewhere in the ocean. A small world that is known, and everything else is a world of ocean that is thought of as a dangerous place, filled with magical creatures and gods. And there is a hero who is brave enough to venture there to save his people. This is a classical premise for a myth. And in a lot of myths, the supernatural aid comes from a powerful ancestor. In Moana's case, her grandmother sets her on a journey. She reveals the hidden past and gives a tool, almost magical, the boat that is capable of long travel. Now the journey finally begins. The first step into the unknown can be the most difficult. The first threshold in Moana is set definitively. There is a wave that she needs to conquer. She tried it, she failed it, now she needs to do it all over again. Notice how this scene is also set at night, highlighting the mysterious unknown world Moana is about to enter. Now, there is another step in the hero's journey which may or may not appear in the story. Usually it happens right after the crossing of the first threshold. Moana was lucky. The spirit of her grandmother smoothed her way into the ocean, but some heroes may not be as fortunate.
The walls are
Don't
moving.
just stand there, try and brace it with something!
But my favorite scene was when they were in the garbage compactor and the walls were closing in, and I thought, that's like the belly of the whale that Joe
That's
Campbell...
what it is. Yeah, that's where they were. They were down in the belly of the whale.
What's the mythological significance of the belly?
It's the descent into the dark.
Why must the hero do that?
In reading these things psychologically, water is the unconscious. The creature in the water would be the dynamism of the unconscious, which is dangerous and powerful and has to be controlled by consciousness. The first stage in the hero adventure, when he starts off on adventure, is leaving the realm of light, which he controls and knows about, and moving toward the threshold. And it's at the threshold that the monster of the abyss comes to meet him.
This step is all about going inward and experiencing a symbolic death, which alters the understanding of oneself, which in return helps with the future quest. Now, it doesn't have to happen exactly at this point in the story, as actually any step. This structure is flexible as long as the symbolic meaning of each step remains intact. Because after all the journeys our characters embark upon are the paths of change and transformation we find ourselves in our everyday lives.
So that if we happen not to be heroes in the grand sense of redeeming society, we have to take that journey ourselves, spiritually, psychologically, inside us.
That's right.
If you find this video helpful, please give it a like and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see part 2. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Bye!